Coming up tonight, the Department of Inland Revenue has a new three-part plan for the way forward. Getting that money is the objective. Plus, the country's Catholic Archbishop is calling on Bahamians to adopt the attitude of volunteerism. And ever had an Armani cut? And we're not talking about a suit either. One female barber story straight ahead. Stay close. This is Our News Weekend Edition. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Megan Shepard. The Department of Inland Revenue introducing some changes as it relates to the Business License Act. The government's target for this year, some $124 million in business license fees. According to Acting Controller Shonda Strawn, there are three key changes the business community should know. The first being the change to the business year.
Right now, all businesses are due for renewal. It's time to renew your business license. So January 31st is the deadline for businesses to submit their business license renewal applications. And they have until March 31st to make those payments.
Strawn noting that just under 50,000 businesses registered with the department last year, but only 9,000 of those businesses registered for VAT, something the department is a bit skeptical about.
You have more than 40,000 businesses that are saying they generate less than $100,000 a year. I don't know about that. So I did the math, and when I broke it down, if you're making $385 a week and you're a fast food place, that's like about 48 chicken snacks in a week that you would have sold. If you're a liquor store and you sell and collect, that's like about 48 cases of collect or 48 cases of Bud Light in a week. $100,000, and the majority of the businesses are saying that they generate less than $100,000 a year. So our focus, the focus of the Department of Inland Revenue is on verifying turnover.
The second change, export turnover is back in.
For accountants, law firms, prior to July of last year, export turnover was excluded from the tax calculation. It's now back in. So it means then if you are an accountant or an attorney and you have clients that are not based in the Bahamas, or you offer advice where the advantage or the benefit is based outside of the Bahamas, you have to report the turnover earned from those clients as well, and we will tax you on that revenue.
And finally, financial institutes are now back in as well, meaning they will have to apply for a business license and pay the fees.
So there is a schedule of fees now for all the financial institutions. So that's all of your banks, your money lenders, your credit unions. They all require a business license for 2023.
Planning on managing your money more prudently this year? Well, a certified financial educator in Grand Bahama, Kaylee Newton, says in order to save more money, discipline is key. Additionally, she says there have been talks about a possible recession in some parts of the world, and this, she says, Bahamians should take seriously.
If we don't, we're going to be caught even in a worse position where inflation is going to overtake us. And what inflation means is what I was able to purchase at one point in time, I am not able to purchase now. I don't have the same buying power or dollar value. So Bahamians need to prepare for the recession. And what that looks like is saving as much as you can, making sure that you live as low below your means as possible. Make sure that you are being very intentional about getting rid of debt.
And she says there are specific things that you should be focusing on.
When a recession comes, we don't only have inflation, but there could be loss of jobs. And what happens then? You definitely don't have anything in order for you to continue to live the life that you have. So you have to be very intentional about it. You have to be disciplined about it. And you just have to understand that it's your best benefit. So it's just a short-term sacrifice for long-term success.
The country is marching toward the 50th anniversary of independence, and its significance is not lost on Archbishop of Nassau, Patrick Pinder. In the early days of 2023, the Archbishop is calling on Bahamians to look at how we can continue to develop the country and true volunteerism. Christina Dragovich reports.
Archbishop of Nassau, the Most Reverend Patrick Pinder, is calling on Bahamians to step up and develop a sense of true volunteerism as we draw closer to the major milestone on the horizon, the country's 50th anniversary of independence. What does that mean, and how can you take action?
In many of our family islands, there's no reason why we can't develop, say, for example, a volunteer fire department or a volunteer emergency response team. So when, for example, we have serious issues, whether it be a fire or a hurricane and so on, we don't have an organized structure there able to really respond and put in place the first responses before you get a response from the capitals.
The Archbishop says true volunteerism means going beyond helping out around Christmas time to create institutions and structures in our community. This comes nearly 3 years since the COVID-19 pandemic was declared, years of tough economic times and uncertainty.
Hopefully our economy is being more substantially restored, which is very important because so many of the issues that impact us are grounded in the economic reality.
And still, there is hope. The Archbishop expressing hope that Bahamians will share and develop more of what makes us truly Bahamian.
So as we move to our second 50 years, we need to focus on developing in many, many ways, certainly not only economically, but also culturally as well. We need to appreciate that certainly while we all love and appreciate John Canoe isn't the only aspect of our culture. There are other aspects of our culture that need to be developed as well.
He adds, hope is the house where courage lives, a message worth sharing.
The story of Christmas, for example, is a story about how the light has shined in the darkness, okay? And as the Gospel of John says, the darkness does not overcome it. And I think one of the basic values we have is the idea that in the end, goodness will prevail over evil. And I think the good times will actually prevail over the bad times.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Christina Dragovich.
Thanks, Christina. Still to come on Our News Weekend Edition, a local doctor is cautioning Bahamians to be more mindful of their health. And colder temperatures are definitely the order of the day. The weather report is coming up. Just stay tuned. Welcome back. Police are investigating the death of a 44-year-old male prisoner who died in hospital yesterday. According to initial reports, the prisoner was complaining of chest pains and breathing issues following a physical altercation. He was then transported to hospital by personnel of the Bahamas Department of Correction Services. An autopsy will be performed to determine the exact cause of death. Meantime, a 34-year-old male of Marsh Harbor, Abaco, is dead tonight following a traffic accident in Dundas Town. The incident occurring shortly after 4 p.m. yesterday. Initial reports reveal that a 2005 Dodge Dakota, driven by an adult male of Marsh Harbor, was traveling north on George Aubrey Boulevard, while a motorcyclist was traveling west along Grace Avenue. They collided, resulting in the 34-year-old motorcyclist receiving serious injuries. He was pronounced dead on the scene by a local doctor. Investigations continue. Weeks into the new year, head of the Consultant Physician Staff Association, Dr. Sabrika Pinder Butler, is cautioning Bahamians to be more mindful of their health. Some of the latest stats by health officials show an estimated 46,600 people, or 11.6% of the population, are diabetic, and another 27,000, or 6.8%, are pre-diabetic. Pinder Butler says, as a people, we have to aim to live healthier lives.
We have to remember now that our health is important, and certainly if we have chronic conditions like high blood pressure and diabetes, for example, that are extremely common in the Bahamas, we know that making sure that we eat right, making sure that our weight is maintained appropriately, making sure that we take our medications and we actually see our healthcare providers. Those things are critical. We don't want to wait until we have the flat tire to then decide to get the tire fixed or checked.
Dr. Pinder Butler explains the risk of waiting until it's too late to get yourself checked out.
Unfortunately, sometimes until people feel something, that is when they tend to come to the doctor. Even as it relates to COVID and the things like the flu, we're now hearing a lot of people say, I just have the flu, we're just staying home and we're not doing anything. And that's oftentimes what gets us in trouble because we wait too late. Please do not wait too late. Do not wait until you've ran out of your medication and been out of it for months. Do not wait until you know that your legs are swelling and you're seeing this, and come to the doctor. We're here to help you.
Just after the break, we're going to hear from a barber. A female barber tells of her journey in what was known as a man's industry. Did you know there is an association just for grandmothers who are raising their grandkids? Well, there is. The details right after this break. Welcome back to the Weekend Edition. It's a fairly new non-profit organization in Grand Bahama that supports grandparents, the Bahamas Grandparents Foundation. The support group that started in February 2022 is located at the Grand Bahama Resilience Center and is currently assisting many families on the island. Italia Hall reports.
The Grandparents Support Foundation provides assistance and support to grandparents raising their grandchildren through clothing, food, and education. Founder of the organization, Claire Fox, says the foundation is currently feeding over 30 families.
Being a grandparent, it's not an easy position that you can find yourself into. You retire, you're ready to kick back, but in most cases, as we know, that doesn't happen for many Bahamians.
She says that they are concerned about the spiritual, mental, and physical health of grandparents.
We offer the gym for our grandparents. We want to send them to spas, and also they might say, look, Miss Claire, I'm just tired, I need a day off. We want to be able to send our grandparents even to hotels for a night or two, just to get away from the children, because let's face it, dealing with grandchildren can wear you out.
Member Zendel Carey says he is heavily involved in the lives of his grandkids and gave this bit of advice.
It's always easy to throw the delinquency of our children onto the state, and then the grandchild becomes the award of the state. But I believe when grandparents get involved, it supersedes all of that, because I'm not just rearing my grandchildren, I'm preparing the next generation.
Member Margarita Monroe says she was raised by her grandmother.
She was one who helped to assist my mother after my mother and my father separated, and that's my paternal grandmother. She was my paternal grandmother. And so when my parents separated, my grandmother, she stepped in and to assist with the younger ones, which was myself and my youngest brother. He was older than I was, but he was my youngest brother.
The president confirming that while she does not have the exact statistics, there are many children being raised by their grandparents in the country for various reasons like death or financial issues.
We are looking for supporters. We are looking for sponsorships. We need sponsorships. As you know, nonprofit organizations can only function with the help of kind-hearted, generous people, the public. And And so if you're out there, please, we need volunteers. We need you to come on stream with your skills, because we need that. If you're a retired teacher, contact us, come and help, because we have students who have fell behind during during and the pandemic.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Natalia Hall.
Awesome initiative. Thanks, Natalia. Well, we're in January, so it's too late to sing, baby, it's cold outside. But truly, it is cold out there. The weather report is up on the other side of the break. And there is no such thing as a man's world anymore. Women have long since broken down that barrier. We are going to hear from a barber about her journey. You heard me, her journey. Stay tuned. That's on the way right after this break. Welcome back. A chill is definitely in the air, and if you haven't taken out those boots with the furs yet, well, clearly now is the time. Let's take a look at what temperatures are going to be like over the next few days. One-year-old Adaria Adderley, better known as Armani Cuts, making her own lane in a traditionally male-dominated field. You see, Adaria is a female barber that got her start during the pandemic. After successfully giving her little brother a shape-up, she bought some tools and began to shadow other successful barbers. Here's her story.
I just started to watch and learn and feed off the other barbers, and from that point on I ended up taking it more seriously, and from that point on I was where I am right now.
Thankfully, Adaria says, as a young woman entering the field, the men in the field embraced and assisted her.
In a sense, looking young, looking like a little kid, they would always look down at me and be like, okay, this is how I can help you to grow. It would always be like a brother, sister type of thing. Any shop that I go in, they would always look out for me to say, this is how I can help you.
As with most transitions in life, Adaria says she faced her share of ups and downs. She says she keeps her trust in God and has learned consistency and confidence along the way.
You walk in a barber store and you're already in a space with barbers who already know what they're doing, and you feel like, oh my God, this is taking forever. You trying to learn how to shape up your hands, shaking and certain stuff like that. So it kind of made me nervous, and then waking up in the morning every day just to stand up all day, I was like, boy, I don't know if I could do this, but I just found a drive and a motivation. I kept trusting God, and He kept pushing me, allowing me to find ways to, I would say, motivate myself to keep going. And I got surrounded by other barbers who allowed me to say, well, okay, this is how I started off as well, so this is how you could finish and this is how you could get better.
She says she hopes to train other young women in the field.
A lot of females have reached out to me saying that they want to learn how to cut and they want to do this, so in about a few months I will be starting those classes, so that way a lot of females can realize that, you know, even though we have male dominant fields, that a lot of girls could take over as well to change the game.
She also credits the popular TikTok app for helping to advance her career.
When I started really pushing in that, I realized a lot of people started to hear me out, started to see me. A lot of people started to say, oh my God, that's the girl on TikTok. So I started saying, okay, cool. This is where I started to build my foundation, name-wise, being known and certain stuff like that.
Here's her advice to other aspiring female barbers.
Don't depend on what your parents want or what someone else wants for you. Even as simple as cooking or coconut water, however it is that you feel, any dream it is that you have, I would say pursue that. Because even just like looking at cutting and just watching it from YouTube and certain stuff, that I never knew that I could grow so much in it and actually make a whole lot of money from it. So I would say trust in God and pray and ask God what it is that He has planned for you, because I never thought that I was going to be a barber.
And before we go, we want to say a special get well soon to our colleague Valdez Ferguson, who is a little under the weather. Get back soon. We miss you. And thank you for joining us for our News Weekend Edition. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Megan Shepherd. Get out there and enjoy the rest of your weekend.